Welcome back to day 11 of our chess journey to 2000 ELO on chess.com. Let's just jump ahead, find an opponent here and get going. We're at 1546 today. We're playing Diamond DNK from, well, they don't have a flag. Let's go 1d4. +5 today if we win, -11 if we lose. So let's hope for a positive result. We get this, and we have a couple of moves here. This is good even. I think this is the main line, haven't looked into it. The knight pushing. But let's go here. Here, this is the old variation. Now we're threatening the pawn. Our opponent can try to defend it, and we can try and hit at this structure. If this is played, we can take, I think. But our opponent defends like this. Now, I think we've seen a few similar games here in positions that have been quite similar. Yeah, similar. If we look at this, we can't quite come here because we can't win the rook now. This and this, we could hit the bishop, I guess. I think this is probably what we should be going for, targeting the bishop like this. So let's come up here. Now this becomes a threat. This we can win the c-pawn, potentially. Now we block pawn mobility here as well, which should be quite good. The bishop can't, well, it could go there actually because of the knight. But this is played. Now we could come up here and take. Then the pawns will look like this, and we could push here maybe, but then I think we might not be in the best position anymore. How about striking at this, and if this is played, let's have a look here. If we go here and play this, and this, and this, and this is annoying for our opponent. So I think that this looks good here, just applying pressure onto this pawn, which then I think becomes difficult to defend. Is there another move here? This could be played, but I think we just take with the bishop and be just fine. There is no check here because our rook is open, so I think we'll be coming up here and targeting this pawn. And now this pawn here, as I mentioned, it's difficult to defend it further. The queen can't come up. So I don't really see a whole lot of ways to hold on to this pawn. So hopefully here we manage to win back a positional advantage from the pawn being taken here and the queen's gambit accepted, and maybe turn it into a more concrete material balance with a better position maybe. We'll have to see. Our opponent here is taking a little while. It's a difficult position to maneuver, so it makes a lot of sense. We haven't really developed our king side, but neither has our opponent. This is quite typical, and the queen's gambit accepted, as we just try to strike at the weaknesses as quickly as possible. We have a good rook here. Our opponent's rook is playing more defensively. Our bishop is open. The queen is open. This bishop is open. So most of our position here has come alive, which is really nice. But we'll have to see if we can take advantage of it anytime soon. So let's try and calculate this line. This should force this move. then I think we could just take here, and pretty sure we're in a really good spot there. We've won back the material, we have all the activity, and our opponent's position doesn't look all that promising. So let's take this and this. We could have taken with the bishop as well, but I wanted to come up with a check afterwards, which seemed really nice. This is played. We'll be taking with the bishop. Now this pawn here is hopefully free. There is this, but I don't think that's an issue. We might even be able to take here then. I don't think there is an argument for coming out here, although there might be. We'd target this, but it's not really targeted per se because it's defended. So what else do we have perhaps? I think most likely we should go for this move. If this is played, as I mentioned, we just take most likely. I don't think there is any tactic there in regards to taking advantage of the pin. So let's come up. There might be some ideas of breaking apart the center. Our opponent doesn't quite go for it. We could go here, but then this comes with tempo, which is annoying. Maybe just developing. Seems to be okay. We have a lot of time here, so it's not as though we have any issues figuring out the position if we want to. This and this might even be played, just targeting the bishops. Don't really think we have any options here of dropping back and applying pressure here because of this move, which is a natural developing move. So let's just develop normally, I think, as I don't see anything concrete. This should do the trick. Now this knight here, importantly, defending this knight. So it's not as though this is a massive threat. It could have been, but not in this position. Because otherwise this and this could force the queen off the board. Now this is open as well, so maybe not. I think this bishop here isn't doing a whole lot for us, so I would like to argue for trading it off like this. And then we can castle, double our rooks, and this pawn becomes quite difficult to defend. There is always the option here of this knight jumping in, but then I think we might have this counter idea, as I mentioned, and we could build on that at least to some degree. This. I'm trying to look for some alternative moves here to see if we have something interesting, but most likely we just go for this trade here. Our opponent might be happy to do so as well to get the king to safety. Yeah, our opponent takes. We'll get castles, most likely castles. This pawn, difficult to defend. Yeah, I don't think we'll not castle here. This is most likely the move to go for. Our target here looking crisp. We could take care if we wanted to, but most likely that's not worth it. The knight jumps in. Don't quite know where our opponent intends to go with the knight. This doesn't work. This is covered as well. They could go here, but what does it accomplish? I don't think it does a whole lot. Let's say we go here, which is our most natural move. The pawn can't be pushed to defend it. This can't be played either. This could be played maybe. Don't quite know. We could maybe drop back, reposition, not quite sure. But let's just grab the open file here, or at least this file, which we're already working on. Only way to defend this, I think, is by coming up with the queen. This might be a move, this might be a move, or this might be a move. As long as there is no concrete tactic here, but this knight can't do a whole lot. Jumping here doesn't really generate any threats as far as I can see. The squares are well covered. This knight still can't do a whole lot from here, I don't think. Same thing here. We'd like to jump in with this knight, and we might create some tactics. Our opponent might want to play on the back rank here. We can't easily cover c1 here with our bishop. Would have liked for this to cover this, but it doesn't quite work that way. At least not geometrically. So then, how do we go about this? Maybe this move? I think this is good. What I think it does is it kind of wins this pawn probably, because here our opponent can't add another defender, and we've got enough pieces along this battery here to where we don't have to worry about the back rank. The bishop could drop back as well, it doesn't necessarily have to though. This isn't scary because of the knight covering this, so this is no threat, I don't think. Let's drop back. We might see rook to d8 here, or c8 rather. Rook f to c8, but I think we can cover those threats. Would like to drop back here, maybe with the bishop, we'll have to see. It's a bit loose, but it's not currently targeted, so it's not a massive worry as of now. Still, we might have this. I don't think it does anything concrete just yet, but it might become a tool for us, which we could utilize at some point. Could even cover this square, where we can get the bishop in to take away some defenders, and allow us to come here with our own bishop, which could be interesting in some positions, as long as we have the back rank covered in those positions, because currently this is some kind of last-ditch effort, where we can block with the bishop, should we ever have to move this rook off the back rank. So currently, even material, almost at least. The knight jumps in. I think we just take here, right? Can this here generate a threat? Let's say we go here, this, but then there is this move, I think. If takes, let's try and calculate what happens to there. This, never mind, this. Okay, so we're up one pawn. Then we have a rook there. Two rooks for a queen and a rook, so maybe not, doesn't quite work in our favor, I think. There is this idea here still. I think we can play this now, maybe. No, this is still a threat. Okay. Because the queen covers it as well. And what happens here? And if this is played, or never mind, if this, and what happens here maybe? Well, if this is played, I think we lose material. So this is actually a bit trickier than I would have liked for it to be. I don't see a concrete way of punishing it just yet. Unless maybe we might have this move. I think this might be our way of doing this. Which might result in this, after which we still have pressure against this pawn. The fork here is no problem, because it's not even a fork. Because we could come back now and take this. This is interesting, because it might allow the rook here to defend this and get active. There, I think we might go like this. Yeah, I still think I'm convinced by this move, to be honest. Most likely this is the best response. Just utilizing the opportunity here to get some activity. I think we'll have to analyze this move after the game, because I don't feel confident this was the best move, but I didn't really find a really good alternative. At least it kind of kills off some of our opponent's ideas. Although it might have been a bit too defensive, I don't quite know. Expecting this move, and if this is played, do we go for luft maybe? Or do we jump in with the knight? We might even go for luft like this. But then I think we might have some weaknesses as well. Only thing is, if the king is on g2, it can defend this pawn, whereas if it's on h2, this becomes a bit weak perhaps. The queen trade is dodged. But does this work maybe? I think this might force the issue. This might be what we're looking at, or for. Let's say this is played, takes, well, then this is fantastic. If this is played, we have this, which forces more stuff off the board, which should be good for us if we're up material. Alternatively, this maybe? Let's have a quick look at that. The queen could come back, but then there is this, which is a skewer, but not if this is played. So honestly, it's still a bit complicated, but I think this here works. Probably forces the queen off, and if this is played, let's say this is played, we could take and see this and take this pawn. We still have the rook on a1, so we don't have any back rank problems. We're up a clean pawn. There might be more concrete stuff here. I don't quite see it though. This, and our opponent gets time to play this move, which kicks our queen out and gets activity down here, so I think we'll be coming here. Simply to disallow this move from being played with tempo against our queen. And well, if this, and this is played, we might even have this move, just defending, while developing our knight to a good square. Or, well, this rook is hanging, of course, so it would have been this, and this being played, and then this. And I think I like the following position there. We still have this pressure, which I don't think our opponent can defend against. Most likely this pawn is going to fall. Is this a move? Just trying to hold on to this pawn here for their life. It would be really bizarre. But let's say it's played. What do we do then? If this is played and the rook comes in, we've got limited mobility here because of the knights and the pawn and whatnot. So let's say this is played, maybe this, but then we can't take because the queen is leading the charge. So here, do we have some way here of kind of shifting the gears a bit? Can we come here, for example? And then there's this move, which is an annoying fork. So let's say this is played. And we might see this. I don't quite think this works in our favor. We can't take here, for example. Yeah, I don't think that works. This could be played, and we could see this maybe. And I think we'll just be down material if that's on the board. Our queen is slightly trapped here if this is played, as this takes away most of our remaining squares. We can't come here because of the queen either. So this is what we've identified now as a problematic move. Can't come this way because of the knight. I don't really want to have to come all the way back either. If this is played, we don't really have any follow-up there. We would just lose a rook, which would be no good. How about this? And I don't want to have to retreat our pieces here. It might have to be necessary, but not if this is played. Our opponent takes, and now we'll just go for this, which I think is probably to our advantage here. This. We still have this rook rather, so it's not a massive problem in terms of back rank stuff, I don't think. This, we'll have to play this or this or this very soon, but I just don't think we have time to go here. But do we need to go there first? Not necessarily. And the reason I'm saying so is because, well, we've got 2 attackers against this pawn, and our opponent's got 0 defenders. Only way to defend it would have been with a lower value piece than a rook, but the knight can't jump in and simultaneously defend the pawn. So let's maybe come up here and play. Honestly, it's a bit difficult to decide, but I think h4, preparing for this kind of a structure for the endgame, grabbing space, I think it looks to be good. Now let's take the pawn. We'd like to get this kind of a position with our rooks staring down here towards the king. Our opponent might try and prevent it by, for example, coming here and trading off by helping with the knight here. That's maybe an option. I think b7 is good for us because the knight can't hit us by jumping then, and then we can follow up with this move. This can't be pushed. Okay, our opponent here goes for counter threats. But is there a threat here? Is this targeted? Let's say we go here, this is played, and this is played. I don't really identify a massive threat here. We could jump in this way. I think we're just quicker. The knight can't help. I don't think, at least. It can't take here, this doesn't work. We've got our stuff defended. So I'm pretty sure we just go here. Rook to a8 might have been an option as well, but I don't think it's necessary to trade off an inactive rook here for our active rook. So the knight's jumping. I guess it wants to go here or here to coordinate an attack towards this pawn. Which is an idea I didn't quite see, but I think most likely we should have some way of dealing with it. Or do we? Do we have a good way of dealing with it? That's the big question here. Well, if we play this and the knight jumps in, we could go here and kind of kick the knight out. So by coming in with the knight here and applying pressure, I think we're simultaneously defending ourselves by allowing f3 to be played. This, let's say this is played. If we go here, the knight is kicked out. It could land here though. But it's not really threatening our stuff there. Then we could go here, and our pressure towards this square is really powerful. So let's come up with the knight. I think this seems to work. Either square there, and pretty sure we just jump in here. This could be played, but I don't think it does a whole lot. Then we have this, this, and this, and this pawn here is falling, and probably even more stuff. But still we have to be careful of tactics here. Our opponent's pieces are getting some activity, which is not necessarily in our best interest. We're down to 4 minutes. Our opponent is at 6. I don't love having to commit this pawn here though. It's slightly annoying because it kind of compromises the structure we went for, but it might not be the end of the world. Would it be nice if we had the knight here defending like this maybe, or this, but we don't really have any ways of defending the knight there. And either way, this exerts some good pressure for us, so as long as we don't risk losing the game through this pawn, most likely it's not a big problem. Let's try and just draw out where the knight could be jumping now. This is an important square which defends this and targets the rook. As for those squares, not that important, I don't think. Let's say this is played. Do we just go here? I think we do. This could be played, but then I think we have this, which threatens a checkmate, like this. Yeah, so let's come up here. f2 is dealt with now, I think. This is a bit weak. But I do still think we have enough time to play what we'd like to. This and this, as I mentioned. most likely the knight has to move there. So I think we're winning, but it's kind of difficult to say, because this does still seem to be a slightly tactical position here. Yeah, we'll be jumping in like this, as I mentioned. Where does the knight go? This isn't playable because of the knight positioning. And this, as I mentioned, is countered by this. Here the knight jumps back, threatening this pawn. But this is threatened as well, actually, so it's a fork, which I didn't really see until now. But I don't think it's massive necessarily. Let's say we go here and this is taken. I still think we just go here, this. It's a bit messy though. I don't love how it's looking a bit too messy, but yeah, this has gotten a bit more out of hand than I would have liked for it to. Simply because this is a fork, but I don't think it's... Oh well, this threatens this now, which I didn't see. That's an important detail. That's a really important detail. Can that be defended? Because the problem is if we lose this, then this becomes defended as well. So we don't really have any tactics there. Could we go here maybe? Could block this. Or no, it doesn't, then we just lose to this, this, and this. This pawn can't be defended. That sucks. It really sucks. But could we go here maybe and just try to not lose the pawn? I really hate how our king seems to be in a cage here, but it might still be okay. Pushing this is really weakening. But if this is played, I think we just go here, and I think it's our best shot, considering what just happened. Kind of messed up this endgame a bit, but most likely it shouldn't be the end of the world. Or at least I don't hope so. Would like to take here and maybe threaten this kind of an idea to come in here. This doesn't work well for our opponent, I don't think, because then we have the king in a cage. The knight, I was looking at this, but then I think we just come here, and I don't really see any promising follow-up moves for the knight. This threatens to win this pawn, but that's not all that bad, I don't think. Then I think we take this, and most likely we're good. But this is played, as I mentioned, I think we go to the F square. The rook could go here though. Maybe then we push here. Oh, this is played. Our opponent is playing really well here. But now I think we have this. Or we might even have this. But then we give our opponent a free move to play this maybe and checkmate us. This, there is this. But not if we go here maybe. But then we lose this pawn. We might win this at the end though. Yeah, let's go here. This is looking a bit sketchy here because we're almost checkmated if this rook here plays the game. But I do still think we have sufficient counterplay by either playing this or by forcing a pair of rooks off the board. A helicopter outside, really nicey, but hopefully it's not too loud for you guys. Yeah, this is played. Our opponent is threatening a checkmate, so it's either this, after which this. This is concrete, so I think we'll go for it. Was trying to find some way of skewering and winning this rook, but I didn't quite see it. This. We'll be hitting this and targeting this, so currently this pawn is not hanging. But this pawn is, which could get scary for our opponent. We're still up a pawn here, but our position is messy, to say the least. This is played. I did not expect it at all, because now, as I mentioned, we have this and this. Let's take. Just quickly looking around here. I think our opponent is intending to play this maybe, but then I think we have this move, which should win us the pawn here in the end. If we simplify here and win one more pawn, we're simply up 2 pawns, which should be a winning endgame, I think. We just don't have to lose to any tactics. We'd like to get our kings closer to the pawns. Our king here is a bit cut off, but not necessarily the end of the world just yet. We're down to 1 minute though, easy to make mistakes with this amount of time remaining. So we'll have to see what we do. This, no, this doesn't work actually because of the knight. Let's say we have this, the knight has to move. Don't quite know where it goes. This is played, we'll be targeting the knight. So we still have this threat going on. The knight, I don't think, can generate a threat. If it goes here, I think our opponent blunders, because we can go like this and immobilize their pieces. We could even go like this first and then immobilize. Try to draw arrows here, this, and this, if this is played first. Our opponent here down to 1 minute as well. Hopefully this means they might start to make some mistakes. Some late game blunders, as is typical, at least at our ELO range. I don't think this can be avoided because of this pawn being pushed to g4. So I'm pretty sure the knight here has to come. Well, this doesn't work as mentioned, I don't think, because of this. So most likely there, because we could come here as well and target this. So if this doesn't work and the knight can't come this way around, it might have to go the long way like this, which is really awkward for our opponent to play, because then the knight essentially is first out of the game for a little while at least. Should give us some good activity to play with. But the time seems to be running out here for our opponent, and, well, it says timeout, so that's the game, I guess. Didn't quite find a move in time. It's difficult here, so I don't blame them. We'll go on ahead here and say thanks for the game to our opponent. It was a really nice game. They really gave us a run for our money. +3 in our favor, I see. We'll have a look at how this was played up to this point, but I didn't expect the advantage to be quite that big, but I did think we have a slight advantage at least, considering our pawn advantage. Let's just jump in here and have a look. 86.9 for us and 80.7 for our opponent. We had a miss, 3 mistakes, and 2 inaccuracies. And our opponent had some mistakes as well down here. Still, they played with an 1850 rating here, which is really good. Let's just jump ahead here and have a quick look at how this was played. Seems we won the opening here, played the correct moves, and found all the right moves up to this point. Apparently this is slightly better, but I thought this was concrete as it's a first move. So up to this point, really happy. Move 11 here, and essentially we played mainly the best moves. But this was bad. Should have not played this at all, should have just castled. I guess we don't want to allow our opponent to develop for free. Maybe we castle and then if the bishop moves, maybe we go here. Not quite sure. But this was bad. We kind of allow our opponent's king to get safe. Apparently this is slightly better still, because I guess our king is exposed. But we went here, and apparently we should have not taken with the rook either. Let's try and just have a quick look and understand why. Oh, of course, I see. It's because in this position we at least cut off castling along this diagonal. That makes a lot of sense. It didn't quite happen though. We went here and played like this. Went back this way. This is where I got a bit confused, but apparently we just come up here with a knight, as I looked at and mentioned a couple of times. Should have taken here even. But we went for this. This was a mistake apparently. Should have jumped up with the knight once again. I guess I got a bit too hesitant about bringing the knight in, and well, this was the best move. Okay, but our opponent went here, which allowed for this, and apparently the best move here is g4. I thought h4 makes more sense, as we get this kind of strong structure, but oh, okay, we are supposed to jump in here already, but yeah, because our opponent found the best move, and now they just jump around. And this is apparently a draw. Blundered the advantage, back to a draw here. And this is bad. Should have went here. How come? I guess this is apparently better, but didn't really want to trade off very good pieces. This was good. I thought this might have been good, but it's deemed a brilliant move here, but it's only really because we force a stalemate here or a repetition along the back rank. We don't really have a way of playing this for a win. So we went for this instead, allowing this. In this position our opponent should have apparently went here, which I don't quite see, but somehow this is a draw. We're up 1 pawn though, so I would have liked our chances there, at least at this ELO. This was good, and we won the game here in this position. So we're up to 1551 ELO now. I think we might have been at a similar ELO a couple of days ago, but we lost a game and lost 10 ELO in that game, so at least now we're back up and we're climbing. So thanks a lot to Demon DNK from, well, Flagless, I guess. for the game. This was a really high quality game, so once again, thanks a lot. And thanks to you guys for watching to the end of the video. Hope you liked the game today. I thought this was nice at least. Hope you have a fantastic rest of your days, and I hope to see you all tomorrow. Bye bye.